You were hurt by someone you trusted.
Yeah.
Like the family member who abused you.
Yeah.
Which made you feel powerless again. It's cool. You should release this.
Wow, when I saw that scene from Atlanta, I knew I had to talk about it on this week's Cross Connection because it's really not something we see on TV every day, and that's Black men in therapy. And of course, you may remember Kendrick Lamar's album, which dropped this summer, that also explores this very timely topic. Now, according to researchers, Black men are about half as likely to pursue counseling as their white counterparts when experiencing anxiety or depression. Well, the first step in breaking that stigma is to talk about it. And so here with me is Dr. Michael A. Lindsay. He's Dean of the NYU Silver School of Social Work, and back with us is Dr. Jason Johnson. Mike, I want to start with you. Dr. Mike, my Morehouse man on set with me. Great to have you here with me on set, seriously. And I just, I've noticed that this conversation around therapy and Black men is becoming normalized, but maybe not normalized to the extent which it needs to be. Why do you think that's happening now?
Well, I think the pandemic has certainly had an impact on how people are being in touch with their emotions and their psychology, if you will. People are being encouraged to talk about how the pandemic has impacted them. And I think it's a great thing because for so long, there's been so much stigma related to talking about these issues. And so, the time is really perfect for us to be having these conversations because so many people are hurting as a result of what has transpired in the pandemic.
Yeah, it's nice to see. Jason, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, getting all up in your biz. But seriously, have you gone to therapy before?
I have, and I actually really debated as to whether I was going to answer this question because it's not so much a fear of threatened masculinity. I just never wanted to really talk about it. But yes, I actually had a therapist. I was uncomfortable, frankly, and I felt like the world doesn't need to know. But you realize that having conversations with the other brothers in my life about their therapy journeys have been helpful. I was in therapy when I was in school because I thought, oh, maybe I'm just stressed.
High school?
Graduate school when I was getting my doctorate. Because I thought, oh, maybe I'm just stressed. But it's like, oh, no, this is anxiety. I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating well. And it was a critical part of me moving forward. And I had the rare experience, and I'd love to hear what Dr. Lindsay thinks about this. I actually had a very good experience with a white therapist. Since then, I've never interacted with a white therapist, but I had a white male therapist who the first thing he said to me is, are you comfortable with talking to a white guy about this? Because I understand if you're not. So that's what built a really good relationship.
That makes a really good point, though, because there does seem to be a necessity for cultural competency when talking to. So when we talk about Black men in therapy, there's also a delta when it comes to Black men therapists.
That's right.
So how can that be addressed?
So what we know is that only about 4% of the mental health workforce are actually Black.
Wow.
And so as a dean of a school of social work, the Silver School of Social Work, it's really important for me to bridge that divide by bringing more people of color, people from historically marginalized populations into the profession, showing them that, you can do well if you come into the behavioral health workforce. And so, to Jason's point, I think that so many people struggle with, I want to see a Black therapist, I want to see someone that looks like me. And I often tell folks the most important thing is to see someone, right? And then work it out. Just like we have to go to various beauticians or barbers until we find the right fit. Sometimes we have to go through that process until we get the right one. But to go to someone is really, really critical.
That's the first step, right?
Absolutely.
I want to play a clip. This came in on my feed this week on Instagram, and it was basketball NBA player Michael Beasley talking about his pain, and it was such a touching moment. So I want our viewers to experience this, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
I've been trying to find good people for so long. I'm tired, bro.
I'll tell you this, bro. I'll be it. Like, whatever you need, dog. Like, you just want to talk. As Black men, we are asked because of talent to carry everybody. We are not made to carry everybody. Black women are asked to carry everybody. They are not made to carry everybody.
So what you didn't see in that clip, Michael Beasley breaks down in tears when he says, I've been trying to find good people for so long, I'm tired. And then he starts to cry. And I think it was such a beautiful moment, and you had such empathy and sympathy for him in that moment because he was strong enough to share those emotions. Either one of you, both you guys, for black men who do think that, you know, therapy, because even in the episode of Atlanta, Paperboy is making fun of his cousin, like, look how much money I'm giving you, you're giving it away, going to therapy. For people who feel like that, because we have access to therapy being of a certain sect of society, but you think about, you know, just dudes on the block who, you know, might work jobs that don't afford that kind of money to spend on therapy. What's the advice to them if they're just struggling?
Well, talking to someone is really important, and being able to talk to your friends and really share with them that, you know, you're struggling with something and you need help and support is really important. You know, to talk about something, to not be able to talk about is out of control, right? It's something that I've heard said before, and so you have to really talk to someone, and then we have to encourage folks to get help, you know, to go to someone and talk to someone who can support them through that crisis or challenging time.
Yeah, because it's not something just exclusively for the elite.
No, it's not. And there are centers that you can go to that have therapists there that aren't necessarily going to cost you any money, depending on what city you live in. And I look at it like this. A therapist is as important, frankly, as your barber. I got 3 barbers. I have a barber in every city that I tend to work in on a regular basis, and you have to build sort of a therapeutic relationship there because, look, my boys don't always have the capacity to deal with what I'm going through. I need to talk to a professional because they're struggling with what they're struggling with too. So,
but even among your boys, like both you guys, when you're among, you know, your dudes in the group chat, wherever you guys gather, do you feel like there's a free flow of, man, I'm struggling today, or, you know, I can tear up, I get choked up talking about things? You know, does that happen?
Well, yeah, my network, yes, because we invite that opportunity for us to talk about our struggles, whether it's health or whether it's in relationships, no matter what's going on, whether it's employment, you know, to be able to talk about that. We encourage it, and I think that's happening in a lot of networks.
Are you in tears, Jason, after we spend time together?
You know, I am always in tears after spending, and brothers ask me, why are you not in tears after IG? Here's the thing, though. I think that develops over time, though, because I would say I didn't have those relationships when I was in my 20s. I was afraid to. I thought maybe I would appear weak. You had a sense of competition. Now, as a grown dude in my 40s, I ain't competing with my boys. We're all trying to lift each other up. So I think for younger men, it's absolutely essential that you seek this out, because that's the point where you think you're too strong for it, and sometimes it can have some serious consequences.
I just want to say, suicide is the second leading cause of death among black children, ages 10 to 19. So this is a conversation we definitely need to keep having. I'm so thrilled we had this conversation. I had the 2 perfect men to have this conversation with. So thank you so much, Dr. Mike. Shout out to Morehouse. See you at homecoming this year. All right. Jason Johnson will be returning in the next hour. And thank you again to Dr. Michael Lindsay.